and welcome back to Dev Show. Thank you very much for joining us today, especially if you are in Denmark in this fantastic weather. My name is Sherry List, and as usual, I am your host together with you, my colleague, not your colleague, my colleague, Rasmus. Hi, Rasmus. How are you doing today?
Hi, Sherry. It could be that there is somebody in the audience that is my colleague as well. You never know, right? I'm
That's
good. Thanks for asking. As you said, the weather in Denmark is awesome today. I have been walking down to the beach a couple of times just to stretch my legs. So that's really nice. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm also been out with my doggy, and yeah, these days you get tan even in Denmark. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what do we have on the agenda for today, Rasmus?
Yeah. So today we have actually a two-part series. So this is the first one. It's called Getting Started on with Java on Azure. So we're gonna talk Java today, and it's we were just speaking about it before we went live here. So we're gonna learn about Migrate versus Modernize with Java apps, and then yeah, our speaker said that he's gonna do demos and Visual Studio Code, and but I don't want to ruin his show, so let's wait until we get deeper in with him.
Yes,
But yeah, the audience can ask questions as well before, right?
that's true. So before actually I bring on the our speaker for today, I just wanted to mention few things. Definitely you can ask the question, and we really want you to ask the question. And we want you to talk to each other. Tell us from where we are watching us from. Are you all living in sunny Denmark or not? And so we want you to chat and interact with each other and chat with us. But at the same time, we really want you to also have the code of conduct in mind. I really recommend you to familiarize yourself with our code of conduct, which Rasmus put the link here. Thank you very much. But in short, we really want you to be respectful of each other and try to be mindful when you are typing any comments here. And if anything happens, we are enforcing our code of conduct. Never happen, and I really don't want this to happen at all. Uh, Also, we are going to during the show we are going to highlight the link to our feedback form. We want you to actually to give your feedback to us about the topics you want to know and so on. And we are going to pick one of you and that who put on the feedback if you want to actually to get a swag box from us as well. And
Swag.
we want you to ask a question. So our speaker is also going to actually choose one of the questions, and you also will get swag. You will also get a link to climb your Azure Heroes badges as well. Learner badge. We're going to talk about it later. So many, not the plushie, but the plushie thing.
Almost. It's
One
just a
more.
sticker of him, right?
Yes, but yes, so yes, there are many ways to win a swag.
Amazing.
And even there is one more way which our speaker is going to tell you later on. Speaking of our speaker for today, uh, is Rory Preddy. So I'm going to bring him on the stage. Hi, Rory. How are you doing?
Hi, Sherry. Hi, Rasmus. Great to be here.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us from long way from Denmark. Where are you based in, Rory?
I'm based in Johannesburg in South Africa. It's about a 12-hour flight, and we're at the other side of the world. We're in winter right now. I'm very chilly. You can see here I'm wearing my hoodie here. It's a nice about 10 degrees out there, but I'm really wishing I was in Denmark right now to enjoy your great weather that you have there.
Hopefully we will have you here. But it's also interesting that even though it's a 12-hour flight, we are in the same time zone. That is interesting.
Yes, we are. Hey, and like if I wanted to get on a plane and go to Seattle, it takes me about 37 hours to get there. So yeah,
37.
yeah. So
Okay,
it is
go up and then go. Yeah. true. Oh, okay. I never thought about it. That's good. I know that we used to have the same role at Microsoft. So you were the sheriff of South Africa, but
Yes.
not anymore. Maybe can you tell us a little bit more about your new role as a cloud advocate?
Yes, thank you, Sherry. So I was the dev audience program manager for South Africa, for the subsidiary and part of the Middle East and Africa team. I've been a Java developer for 22 years now, and I approached the advocacy team and said, wow, I can really show the world on how Microsoft is a leader with Java. And for the last year, we've really been speaking on the great tool sets that the Java developer can experience on Azure.
Amazing.
That's
That is
amazing.
great.
So
Yes.
you say you have 20 plus years experience in Java. Can you talk just give us a sneak peek into the journey that you've been on?
Yeah, so my first time that I touched Java was in Java 1, even before they had basic classes like array lists. They didn't even have lists. They had vectors. And I remember I was smitten by it because it's a very verbose language. What you see is what you get. It's not like another language like Python, which has incredible list comprehension, or Perl, which was $, hash, $. And it really revolutionized the industry because it created this language that you could teach in schools, teach to students, to developers, customers, anyone. And we've seen the Python 3.7, 3.8, C# also adopt that. But the developer wants a really great experience. They want to be able to code in a natural language as possible, and also get the power of the underlying language. And we've seen that also. Java 17 is about to be released, and it's got some really great improvements. I'll touch on the newest family member of the OpenJDK, the Microsoft OpenJDK. We announced the general availability of version 11 and now version 16 of the OpenJDK. And when you go into Azure and you go into the default, we defaulted to the Microsoft version of OpenJDK. And I'm going to show you how to do that with a really nice demo after the slide deck, to show you how to get started with Visual Studio Code. I've been working hand in hand with the Visual Studio Code team to really make sure that we have a great Java experience on Visual Studio Code.
Fantastic. Nice. Thank you. We cannot wait to see all of this, especially because that it's been ages since I haven't touched Java, so I want to see that how much actually I will get from here as well.
Sherry, the good news is that you'll probably be able to pick it up within a couple of hours. One of the key fundamental tenets of Java is not to have deprecating or breaking changes. So everything that you used to know, you can get right on there.
Let's see, because I guess I told you earlier that I have certification in Java. So
that's great. That's great.
Yeah, from the ACM actually. Yes, great. But before we jump into your talk, I also know that you have a lot of passion about accessibility in the especially cloud advocate team. You do a lot. Maybe can you tell us a little bit about that passion as well?
Yes. So one of the reasons I joined Microsoft is that I felt that both of our passions were aligned. Microsoft is a key accessibility advocate, and they have a powerful open source tool chain. You can go to accessibilityinsights.io, and you can download the same tool sets that I use to check that my material is accessible. Windows, Office, all of those tool sets that we use is freely available at accessibilityinsights.io. So our stars aligned, and I'm really grateful for Microsoft for the commitment they have to empower everyone in every organization to achieve more.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. I will also put the link in the chat for everyone to go and look at it. And that's actually for us, Cosmos, that we should also be a little bit more active on that part as well. This is our learning as well. So yes, great. So with
I'm
that,
definitely going to read about that.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
I'm going to share your screen, Rory, And let me just do it. So, stage is yours, Rory.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Rasmus. So first of all, follow me on at Rory Preddy. You can see there, that's my Twitter handle. I've got this nice little Logitech gyroscope. If you want to work from home, I really strongly advise you to get this, the Logitech presenter. And it just has the ability to just wand through things. So you can follow me on at Rory Preddy. And great news, we've got some swag to give away as part of the Cloud Skills Challenge. We put 5 or 6 modules there that I've co-authored for the Cloud Skills Challenge. You can go to acat.ms/csc/java-on-azure, and you can actually go in and win some swag. I know that Cherry has some incredible swag boxes that you can win. And then the following session, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to announce the winners and see who's on the top of the leaderboard, and then we're going to give them some swag, so which is great. Great. I'm going to show you how to get started with the demo, and then we're going to do in the next week's session, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to do some hands-on, really down-to-earth demos using some of the material from those Cloud Skills Challenge. So let's get started. This presentation is really to give you an overview of Java, and what better than giving an overview, let me go down there, than actually saying categorically that Microsoft loves Java. And everyone says, whoa, Microsoft can't love Java. But then I give them the stats. We have 500,000, 500,000 Java VMs in production. Now, this is for running Microsoft workloads. Understand, this isn't even customer workloads. Those are in the millions, tens of millions. And we use it throughout Microsoft. We have in LinkedIn, we have it on Azure, so services dependent on Java, HD Insight, Databricks, Azure Spring Cloud, internal control systems. Yammer use it, most of the backend systems. Minecraft, every time you play Minecraft, Java. Android, we have so many Microsoft Java apps written in Android that run on Java. So we really say that Microsoft loves Java, 500,000 Java virtual machines in Microsoft. And it makes sense then for us to publish our OpenJDK, because we really want to give customers and developers the best experience on Azure and at Microsoft. We also have a strong partner ecosystem. So with VMware, we jointly build and operate the Azure Spring Cloud. And in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to do some demos with it. Incredible platform. You don't need to understand Kubernetes, but you get the power of Kubernetes to run your Spring apps. We also have Red Hat, who partnered with us for JBoss ERP on app service. So you're a JBoss fan, now you can run it on app service. I'm going to do a demo in 2 weeks' time on that also. Oracle, we've got solution templates for WebLogic. Those are virtual machines. IBM, WebSphere, and also Liberty on Azure. Redis, we got Redis Enterprise and also Redis Cache. Elastic, you love the logging of Elastic. Now you can do Elastic Cloud in the Azure Marketplace. Confluent, we also allow you to do Confluent Cloud, and then Azure also OpenJDK. What about community engagement? So we're a member of the Eclipse Foundation. We also not only a member of the OpenJDK, but we have our own OpenJDK, the general availability of the Microsoft Build. Adoptium, we're a founding member, so that's OpenJDK. Spring, we have Spring Cloud projects. We have so many Spring Cloud starters, which I'm going to start in there, and also Azure Spring Cloud. GitHub, we loved it so much we bought it. We've got 3.6 million Java repositories on GitHub, and also GitHub Actions and Codespace is coming out. It's going to really make an excellent developer experience. Visual Studio Code, we also liked it so much we bought it. And it's got Java extensions for Maven, and I'm going to show you there so many new features there. It's going to really wow your world. And then we've got also support for popular Java standards and projects. So this is also about getting started. So I want to talk about Modernize and Migrate. So typically when you modernize something, you make it cloud native. You make it aware that it's running in the cloud and take advantage of some of those cloud services. When you migrate something, you lift and shift. You move it like a VM or an application, and you move it to a container that can actually, you don't have to modify the application. So we've got all of these lists of tool sets that you can actually migrate or modernize. So the first over here is frameworks and application servers. You've got all your Jakarta EE, your Java EE application servers, your WebLogic, your OpenLiberty, Wildflower, your JBoss. And what you want to do is you don't want to really change those. You want to move them into the cloud to take advantage of some of those services. So you're going to move it actually into a infrastructure as a service and a virtual machine. Next, you're going to want to move your Tomcat services. So you can see there your basic web apps. You're going to want to move them into a container. You're going to containerize them. You're going to use a tool that I'm going to show you a little bit later that does the containerization for you automatically. And you're going to move it into Kubernetes. You might also want to use Red Hat OpenShift for your Tomcat services. If you've got a Spring app, you might also want to use app services, but you can also use app services for your Tomcat services. You can see there Tomcat, and you can also use your JBoss applications for JBoss on app service. So your Spring apps then, ideally you could use them for app services, but you can also put them in Azure Spring Cloud. So it's got the power of Kubernetes without having to worry about the control plane, the node lifecycle, or any of that. And then also, if you want to run functions, we have Azure Functions that also run Java. So if you want control, you can use infrastructure as a service, but as you move over to productivity, you're going to move over to the excellent experience of app services and Azure Spring Cloud. So let's talk a little bit about containers. So we go where the developer is. If you want to use a developer tool, an IDE, or any command line, we support it. We engage with your developer ecosystem, and we make sure that you have a wondrous experience. So you can use any IDE you want: IntelliJ, Eclipse, Visual Studio Code. You can use Docker. You got your build tools, GitHub. And then also, if you want to use Container Registry, we actually have our own container services. Then you can choose Azure Container Kubernetes Services. So AKS, we're a founding member of Kubernetes. Then you can also use Azure Red Hat OpenShift, which is a white labeling, which has a very nice lifecycle for Azure Kubernetes. And if you want to also, you can use container instances. Now, if you know a Service Fabric, Microsoft Service Fabric, Azure Container Instances actually runs on top of Service Fabric, which is a great way to have a Microsoft-centric container lifecycle. Then on platform, once you've got your container, you can tie into all of these nice platform services: Active Directory, Azure Policy, Security Center, Key Vault, Azure Monitor, Cognitive Services, Service Bus, and Azure Advisors. All of these are really industry-leading services to make you have the best container ecosystem and support that we can provide. You want to run on-premise? We also have Azure Arc, which allows you management across environments. And recently in Microsoft Build, we announced the ability to Azure Arc to tie into other Kubernetes services running on other clouds. If you've got an Azure Kubernetes instance running on your cloud, locally on-premise, and you have an AWS Kubernetes instance, Azure Arc will connect the two and give you one seamless experience. So let's talk about Tomcat and JBoss EAP. So there's our little Tomcat icon and then JBoss EAP. Now, when you have these services, you might want to move them on VMs, but we fully support them on application services, which is great because you can deploy your EAR or WAR using any tool of your choice, command line or IntelliJ or VScode or any IDE actually. It's got built-in CI/CD, ties into GitHub Actions and Azure DevOps with zero downtime deployments. I'm going to give you a demo a little bit on how to get started with these services with CI/CD. It's got intelligent troubleshooting and performance optimization, and it uses, out of the box, we've just announced in Microsoft Build, application insights. So you get distributed tracing, monitoring, and logging out of the box that gives you end-to-end transaction monitoring without having any configuration changes. And of course, automatic updates and security patches. So what about Azure Spring Cloud? So what is Azure Spring Cloud? So first of all, it uses Kubernetes to do the orchestration and gives you the power of Spring Cloud with a service registry, a config server, and distributed tracing for all of your microservices. You can actually have up to 500 microservices on one Azure Spring Cloud instance, and it's priced to be cheaper than Kubernetes. So once you have that, then you are running in Azure Spring Cloud, and you can tie into CI/CD, Azure DevOps, GitHub, Jenkins. You have your automation with Terraform, CLI or PowerShell, or using ARM templates. And then the benefit of Azure Monitor and also Active Directory for authentication. It's a great tool to actually get your Spring applications into the cloud. Once you have that, you might want to use a database. And we have these really great databases. My favorite is that we've just announced a lot of these, what we call flexible pay-as-you-go databases. So in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to show you how to use a Postgres database to connect to a JBoss application. And you can use Postgres or MySQL or MariaDB with flexible options, and they really lower the cost of your cloud-based databases. You want to use Azure Cache, you can. And if you want to use your NoSQL, we've got Azure Cosmos DB or the industry standard Azure SQL database and managed SQL instances. It gives you always up-to-date hybrid capability, high availability, limitless scale, and low latency. And now with flexible service, really pays you go and economic. So if you want to process millions of events, we have the ability to do real-time event-driven Java on Azure. You've got your devices that produce data. You can have your ingress. You can ingest your data into event hubs. You can use your function apps then to process your data, and then Cosmos DB to store it. And then to visualize, we have Power BI or any dashboard. You can even use Elk Stack to do millions of events for IoT and also event-driven Java. Now, like I said, we go to where the developer is. You can build on your own terms. We don't really mandate any developer tools there. If you want to use the IDEs of your choice, you can. I'm going to give you a demo with VScode coming up now. You want to use Maven, you can. I'm going to show you a demo later with Gradle. Really great improvements there. We work hand in hand with the Gradle team. GitHub, you can use GitHub. I'm going to show you how to use GitHub Actions, Jenkins, and then, of course, Terraform. Once you have that, you might want to also automate. Now, we're looking at this. There are so many options, but you can see there's Jenkins, Azure Pipelines, GitHub Actions. We really tie in with a lot of these services to make sure that when the developer wants to come in Azure, they can't say, I can't or I won't, or it doesn't support it. We make sure that the tool sets there really provide the avenues to do that. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a demo there with GitHub Actions. In 3 clicks, you're going to create an application. So some customer stories. We get a lot of people to say, show me some real world customer stories. So the first customer story is Swiss Re. And Swiss Re really says they want to take their Spring applications and put it in Azure. And they want the cloud scale, performance, and flexibility with automated security and reliability and increased developer velocity. So what we did is we spoke to them and we said, wow, you need Azure Spring Cloud. You confront it with Cloudflare to proxy your requests. Then you can have your Spring Cloud Gateway to give you an ability to use your distributed microservices. And then once you have that, your backend services can run Spring Boot, integrate with Active Directory on a Postgres database, and using Key Vault. Now, what they're using there for their storage, they're using the State of Context Azure Storage, they're using Application Insights for the workspace, and then Azure Log Analytics for their queries. And this was a great opportunity to do Azure Spring Cloud with Swiss Re. They're one of the largest insurance brokers in Switzerland. AIA also approached us and said they've got a lot of Tomcat legacy applications. They want to use Power BI to tie it into there. So what we recommended is running Tomcat and Azure Kubernetes service with a SQL managed instance. And what they got is cost-effective and scalable platform, streamlined development process, and attractive tech stack for external talent. You can see here, this is the diagram. You've got their on-premise network, which will tie into a primary instance there and a secondary instance in primary in Singapore, secondary in Hong Kong. And then the VNets there, so the virtual network and virtual networks. So the virtual networks are meant there to provide load balancing and firewalls. And then you've got your Apache Tomcat instances there and your Kubernetes that tie into Azure Storage and your SQL database, all tying into the best quality of security and patches. Patterns and practices. So this is something that we've learned also around the industry. So the first pattern I want to tell you about when you move into the cloud is zero trust, which means that no one stores a password anywhere. And what you do with that is with zero trust is you keep your application there running with secure apps with managed virtual networks. So you've got your VNet link there and your VNet link there, and they're not available to the wild internet. So you can use all of that, and then you can use Key Vault, and I'm going to touch on that now, to store your passwords. You can see here, here's Azure Spring Cloud, and then that's fronted by a firewall subnet. Now, you also want to manage your zero trust with secrets using Azure Key Vault. So you can see here, here's my MySQL database passwords, but I no longer have to do that. I can just store all of that in Key Vault, and it controls the distribution of secrets to reduce accidental leakage. And you can monitor and access the use of secrets in Key Vaults by your administrators. So what about end-to-end security? Using Azure Active Directory and AIA DP2C, you can get all of your applications to have OAuth, or also you can have end-to-end user access with hydrated security principles. And it's great. We have authn and authz access with great Graph API. So you can really get low-level control over your security and your RBAC access. Once you have all of that set up, you've got your VNets and your access, then you want to do your monitoring, your distributed tracing. And now we have out of the box for App Service and Azure Spring Cloud with Azure Monitor. And there's end-to-end monitoring and analytics for your Java workload. Over here, we have Azure Spring Cloud. And I'm going to do a nice demo for you in 2 weeks' time. And you can see that you can track availability and performance of applications with agentless tracing. There's nothing you have to set up. And then you can see there it's got performance and also how many calls. You can drill down, and also you can operationalize with smart alerts and automated actions. Once you drill down, you can see that you can get distributed tracking. So in this customer service that I showed you here, we're going to create the pet application in a little bit here, and I'm going to show you how to deploy it. You get full end-to-end transaction monitoring. You can see that those are my actual SQL commands there. And I can see how long each one of those SQL commands took, and also how long the actual service. You can see the service here took 50 milliseconds, and the database took 34 of those 50 milliseconds, with each one of them adding up to the individual transactions. So you can monitor databases, JMS, Kafka, all out of the box without any configuration. Once you have that, you might want to autoscale. Now, autoscaling is the ability to scale up and to scale down. Now, what we're seeing with cloud is that typically when you went to your management or your CTO, they would give a scale into 3 years' time and then add a fudge factor like 20% on how much they think it might go up there. But now we're actually seeing people say, how low can we scale to? Because then you can cut costs. Instead of having your resources just sit there and not process everything on weekends, public holidays, or anywhere that I have low usage, you can scale down. In this example here, I scaled up under high demand, and I scaled down when I didn't have any transactions. So yeah, and you can schedule this. You can see this here, and also you have notifications, ties into your GitHub actions there. It's really great. So getting to Azure, you can use Azure Migrate, and that will take your existing containers. You can do app containerization, point-and-click migrate applications to containers and AKS. So you can go to Azure Migrate with app containerization. You can also use the App Service Migration Assistant for Java web pages, and it's a great way to actually use, it will assess your application and then process it there. So next, we've got a demo. I've only taken 20 minutes of your time with some slides. I think that's about everything that people can tolerate. Let's go to the demo, and I'm going to show you how to get started. So the first thing you want to do is install the coding pack for Java. So the coding pack for Java, you can go onto the Visual Studio Code. Let me just show it to you here. Let's go into our window here. If you go into here, and you can go coding pack for Java VScode, and you'll download a file here. So getting started with Java and Visual Studio Code, you'll download the coding pack for Java. You see there the coding pack for Java or Mac OS, and you'll get a nice little screen here that says coding pack for Java. Let's get there. And then you can just say next when it says accept the license agreement. And this is going to analyze my PC and say, you have Visual Studio Code, or do you have a JDK, a Java Development Kit? And yes, I have both. You might not have one of the two. And you can install it then, and it's going to be pretty quick to install. And it installs everything for you for the coding pack for Java. And then we're going to launch Visual Studio Code, and it's going to launch with a basic project here. Let me just close that and start from a fresh close folder. There we go. So you can get started with that. Now, the next thing I want to show you with Visual Studio Code is how to actually clone an application and get started. So I'm going to clone the Pet Clinic application into a project. So if you don't know the Pet Clinic application, let's go over here. So the Pet Clinic application is one of those applications I showed you with distributed tracing. And it's got owners. So you can find an owner of a pet. This owner here, you can see here, George Franklin has a pet called Leo. It's a cat. and you can edit that and also go in for vet visits. So I'm going to go back into my application here. Let's find the Visual Studio Code app there, and then I'm going to open up the application. Now you can start with a clone repository, or you can create a Java project. I'm going to clone a repository here, and I'm going to provide that GitHub URL there and clone that URL there. I'm going to clone it into the dev folder. I'm going to call a new folder here, and I'm going to call this dev show. Let's create that folder there. And I'm going to create the repository there. So it's going to open up a new application. It's going to clone the pet clinic application there. And then we can get started on that. We're going to open a new window. Now I've got my application here. And the first thing you're going to see here is that it doesn't know that I'm running Java, because the only time it's going to pick up on Java is if I open a Java file. So I'm going to open a Java file. And the minute I do that, it's going to run a little window there, to say running Java. And then it's going to actually tell me, wow, I'm using the Microsoft Build of OpenJDK. And everything is running accordingly. Now, this runs off process. This is actually running not in my IDE, outside there using the Eclipse Java language server. And it's processing all of that to be able to send me back JSON to and from to give me IntelliSense, to give me a lot of IDE features that I might require. Now, you can change that if you don't want to use the Microsoft Build of OpenJDK. You can go into the command palette, and you can go to configure Java runtime. So in the configure Java runtime, you can see there, I've got all of my runtimes there. Got installer JDK, so I can install a JDK. I can also install the Microsoft version of OpenJDK there. You can see there, that's the Microsoft version of OpenJDK. I can do any of the others here. And if I want to change that, I can do the Java tooling runtime. I can change that from any one of those. I'm going to just change it there to use the Java 11. There we go. And it's asking me to restart there to use the Java 11. And now if I go into my base entity here, I can see that I'm going to be using Java 11. I can see that by actually going, clicking on the Java extension here once it's finished loading, and it will bring me to the IDE that I'm using. So once we have that, I want to show you this application. So we have a Java folder here. So source main Java. We also have some tests in the Spring application. And I'll give you that URL for the Spring Boot application. It's basically, if I show it to you here, let's go here. It's on github.com/spring. Let's go here, spring-projects and /spring pet clinic. And this is done by the Pivotal team, the VMware team, and it's one of our partners that we use to create. Let's go there. So you can see there, now it's running in Java 1.8 mode, but if I click on that, then you can see there, it's actually using the Microsoft JDK. So I've got my application here. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I can see all my files. So I've got this is the Explorer view, but I've also got something new that we've recently launched called the Java Projects view. This is very similar to one of those enterprise IDEs here. You've got all of your files here. You've also got all of your Maven dependencies that it's picked up here, all of your Maven dependencies, and you can just go into each one of these files and see all of their settings here. So this is the Maven project view, and this is really new that you can actually use and edit your files from. So that's the one view. Now, what happens if I want to see person view? So this person here, he might be a vet. He might be any number of entities here. He might be an owner even. So what we've recently realized is that we want to give these people a type hierarchy. So if I right-click on owner here, and owner extends person, the person object, I can go there, show type hierarchy. And now you can see there that owner extends person, extends base entity and object. So you get this nice view that you can actually go in there and see your interfaces, your objects, all in Visual Studio Code without having to go into another IDE. So that is your type hierarchy. Now, what happens if I want to change my type hierarchy? So in vet here, I have a specialty. So a vet might work with cats and might work with dogs. I want to move vet into another specialty into another folder. So I want to move it into system. Now, normally what would happen is this would just break my project. And it'd say, do you want to move this? I want to say yes. Now you can go show preview. It's going to show you everything that is going to change. So these all the classes are going to change. Vet controller test, vet's going to change, specialty to Java. And then if I like it, what I see, I can just go apply changes. and it's going to go change it there, and it's going to tell me that everything is working fine. I'm going to change that back. I'm going to drag that back into vet. I'm going to say yes, and then I'm going to go show preview, because I want to show you that nothing actually changed. And then in my source control here, I can show you that speciality didn't change. There were no changes there. So it really is a great feature to go in and use Teams to do team refactoring. Once you have that refactoring, you might also want to build with Maven. So let's build our project here. So let's go into our Maven view, also a new view that we've just recently created. So here's our Maven view here, and you can go into your Maven view for your lifecycle, and you can go install or package. We're going to do package here. You can go package here, and this is going to create our jar file for us, our Java archive that we're going to deploy to Azure. So this is going to run some tests here. This package here actually runs tests. So the next thing I want to show you while this is running is the new test explorer that we've got. So you'll see that this will succeed successfully. And the test explorer allows you to have all the tests that you saw there. So if we go into testing, you can see there that the test explorer here has picked up all of the tests. So we've got pet clinic tests, validator tests, owner controller tests. Let's go into owner controller tests here. And it's running all those tests for us as we run the Maven package. And you can run the tests here if you wanted to manually. You can see there I can run each test manually. But I can also go run all the tests per class. And with the new refactoring, I can right-click here and go source action, and I can generate tests. So if I wanted to generate tests, I can generate all the tests for all of the classes there if I wanted to. Let's get out of there. Yeah, so I can run those tests. And let's show you if I wanted to debug some of the new features that I can actually debug. So let's go into owner tests, and let's go into one of the debug statements here. Find form success, test show owner. Let's go into that. And this is MVC, mock MVC. This will bring up a Chromium test here. And I'm going to put in a test here. Let's actually go into something, owner controller test here. I want to show you the owner test here. So let's go into owner controller, not in actually the test here. And then when we do the find all features here, so find, there we go. And we want to do find. I can actually go process find form, and I can go there and I'll put a break statement in there for the collection and the results. Let's go put a break statement. Now it's going to break, but I want to see the results without having to inspect the object here. So what I can do is I can go into my Spring dashboard. So there's a Spring dashboard also, so Maven dashboard here. And I'm going to go into my Spring dashboard here, and I'm going to go run there. You can see there, now it has picked up that I can run my Spring application. This is a feature that you usually only get with really advanced paid for products. And I can go debug. And this is going to now run my application. And I'm going to go into my localhost application. And hopefully this is going to break on collection find owners. And I'm going to see if that runs. So it hasn't broken yet. Let me go to my browser window here. And I'm going to go to localhost. Let's go localhost 8080. No, we don't want to do 8080. We want to do localhost. I think there is something it's not liking. Let's go back there. 8080. I might have been running other stuff there. Let's just go sign in. Wow, you should not be asking me sign in there. Let's go back there for a second. Of course, the law of demo says that it is broken there. And let's go back there, and we can run a test there and make sure that, oh, it's already there. I have another process running on port 8080. I'm not going to argue with that there. I'm actually going to go back in there. It could be that the test that I ran, but any which way, you'll have that there. Let's go run in the owner controller test there, and we can pop it there. And now when we run the owner controller test, let's go show you the debug functions. So we're going to run that, run the test there, show owner, and this is going to run on a different port, and hopefully it's going to actually break there around that. So there we go. And it ran on the owner controller test. It didn't actually break there. Let me go there on that, not actually there, test show owner. And then let's, no, we want to run the test. We want to debug the test. That's my problem there. Okay, so let's run that. And let's debug our test here. I want to show you the inline values here. A test session is currently running. Let's wait for that to finish there. And then you can run your debug test there. Compiling, and we're going to run there And okay, it doesn't seem to want to actually stop there, but you get, oh, there we go. Whew, there we go. So what I wanted to show you here is that you actually can get your inline variables, something that we've really sat with. You can see their mock MVC is now inline variable, test owner ID equals to 1. And you can actually step through all of that. You can also go into your local variables, which we've recently done. You can go hide static variables, disable local structure view, two-string methods here. So you can really modify the developer experience there, and you can check over there, and it will run through and through. So that's inline variables, a really nice new checking that we've got there. You got your test services. I'll check in afterwards why my port wasn't running 8080. Something else must have actually just caught it up there. And the last thing I want to do and show you is how to get this application onto Azure. So I've got the Azure App Service already running here, but I think we've got enough time to actually publish this to Azure. I'm going to stop that there, the dev test there. So the first thing you want to do is you want to configure your app service. You can actually do that using a Maven plugin. So as part of the Learn modules that you have there, we show you how to do that Maven plugin. So you can open up your terminal here. Let's go open up the terminal. And you can say, Maven, I want you to config and tell me that I'm going to go to an application. So I've done the Maven 1.15 config. And this is all in the Learn modules there also. And we're going to tell it, I want you to deploy, and you can see there the app service there, to this app service, this Spring application there. So it's going to go and inspect my Azure account. I am logged in, so AZ login. And then it's going to deploy the application there as a jar file. Now, you can also deploy your application if you wanted to, just by right-clicking and going into, let's go into the Spring editor here. You can actually just right-click and go deploy to web app. But I'm going to show you how to use it with Maven, because you can also create your application once you do that. So I've done Maven config, and it's going to say to me, please set up your application. Please set up also your name of your application, and then I'm going to use your account. You can see there it's using my Azure account that I logged in with my subscription. Let's make that a little bit bigger here. And it's going to load all the Java app apps. So which one you want to do? You want to create it, or you want to use an existing one? I want to use an existing one. So I'm going to say, please use that one. It's running a Java 8 on Linux. And then next thing it's going to say, do you want to run this? You want to save this to your POM file? So save it, yes. And then the build file was changed. Now, if I go into my POM file, you'll see that I've got a nice new section here with that Maven command to go in and create my application all there. You can see there, I've got everything set up. Now, all I have to do once I do that is go and Maven deploy. So while we're taking questions, you'll see that this will be deployed there. This is going to take my jar file that we did with our Maven package, and then it's going to deploy it there. And now I can add this to CI/CD, and every time it runs, I can actually deploy to that application. So we still have 15 minutes. I'm going to hand over to Sherry to get some questions while this is running. This takes about a minute and a bit to run. Sherry, come back on, and do we have any questions?
To be honest, we still don't have any question. We were just briefly discussing which IDE everyone is using, and we have actually one of our audience was just mentioning, Antonio was just mentioning that the VScode has most used Eclipse features to develop Java. And
yeah, oh no, it feels like home to me. So like the project view that you get here, this feels exactly like you would get in an Eclipse feature. And also you get all the Spring Boot dashboards with all those Spring features, Maven, and an incredible Azure experience. You can see there, I've got app service, functions, storage, virtual machines, databases, and also Azure Spring Cloud. So I can get all of that out of my IDE, and I get the terminal access and the ability to use the Maven plugins when I want to. So it's a great opportunity and great features to use.
Guess, are there some, maybe, I don't know, are there some of the kind of the add-ons on VScode that you normally use?
So that coding pack that I showed you brings everything. It allows you to have everything there. So you can do the coding pack, and then you just need to go into your Azure subscriptions here and make sure that you're logged in. So that's about. You can see there that's busy deploying there. So it is going to take a few seconds though, but it's going to deploy the jar there. And we've just changed that recently to use a really great deployment method that uses a one deploy method. There, that's it. It's deployed. And now before that starts, you can go into your app service here, and you can go in and stream the logs. So you can start the streaming the logs, and hopefully everything's running fine here. But you'll stream the logs, and the logs will come through here of our Spring application running. You can also see what was deployed. You can go into your deployments, and you'll see there the deployments there, the center there, and then eventually it'll come out. You can see there that's using one deploy, which is a great new development experience. That actually calls the REST APIs. It doesn't do any FTPing. This was only released like a few days ago, and this uses REST APIs. You get a really fast deployment process instead of actually having to wait for files to be FTP'd. So while that's coming through, let's talk about the Cloud Skills Challenge. I'm going to open up
one more question since we are
okay.
talking about the IDEs. Again, from actually we have from Antonio that he asked that how to install the JDKs in VScode.
Yes. Okay. So let me show you that again while we're running there. So you can go into Command Palette. So you can go to Command Palette there, and then you'll go Configure Java Runtime. So once you configure your Java runtime, let me just close it there. You can go into your project JDK. So now that's a JDK for I use my project. You can see there that it uses 1.8, and it even shows you how to use your Maven dependencies for that. And if you want to use a different project JDK, you can use there. I've got the Microsoft 11 JDK. You can also use the tooling runtime for the language server, which can actually run differently. So that runs off process. You can see your install JDK. Now, if you want to install one and make it as a default, what you'll notice here is as I click on a Java file here, you'll see there that it actually starts out, and let me make that a little bit smaller here. You'll see there that it starts out and tells me what my ID is. Now, in your settings, so JSON, I can actually go in there, click there, and I can say, I want my Java 11 as the default. Even though you're running Java 8, I want that to run as a Java 11. So between those two screens, you can install your JDK. It'll pick it up. Once you install a new JDK, it'll pick it up, and then it will run with that. So let's go back to our application. Everything should have run fine there. Our Azure application, our Spring Boot application. We should have the application there. Browse website, and then let's go back there. You can't see it here, but let me just drag it there, and let's go back there. And everything is hunky-dory. We've got our Spring Boot application. We did a live deploy there from Git clone all the way through to all of the features there. Now you can go find owners. You can find the owners there. And like I said before, if I go into Portal, you get end-to-end application insights. Now that application uses an H2 in-memory database. Do you know how hard that is to monitor? Now I'm going to go in there, and I've just pulled my owners here. I've done a few transactions here. And ideally here, if I go into my app services on my Azure portal, I want to see how long that database took there. I can go into my Spring Pet Clinic. I can go into my application insights, and this is free and comes out of the box. Let's just wait for this to start out there. And what this does, it gives you end-to-end transaction monitoring to your dependencies. You can use it for JMS, for your databases, for your Kafka queues, all of that. And it will pick up your REST services that you have there, linked to your application, and give you that nice view that I showed you before there. So you've got end-to-end monitoring and transactions, and also on all of the application platforms, JBoss, or app services, or Kubernetes. You get all of those things there. So yeah, so here's your application insights. We can click through on application insights, and let's see if we can get an end-to-end transaction map for the transaction I just did there. So this is really brave. I just did a live demo that went through fine, except for that port 8080. I'll find out what's blocking that, but that's just local. I've got view application insights here. Let's see if we've got a application map. So let's go into our application map, and then to the last hour, let's hold thumbs. Let's see if the tracing. Yeah, we did it. We've got a Spring application here, and then we've got other SQL. I can go into that Spring application, and I can go into my logs. I can investigate the failures or the performance. There's our owner service there. I want to investigate the performance there, see what my owner service takes. And ideally, I can find one that has end-to-end transactions. There we go, owner's service there. I want to click through that. I want to find my samples for those owner services there. And there's an owner service there, duration. And ideally there, it will show me the database called, look at that. in-memory database there. I get how long it took. It took a little bit too long, so I can go there and change my application. But the database was blazing fast. And then I can even go into that and see what are my user flows? What did the user do in my user flows for my distributed tracing, end-to-end user flows and distributed, so you can see exactly what the user did for that. So that's everything I wanted to show you today, Sherry. Hopefully, and all my demo went fine, which was a great way. I love live coding and when everything goes well. Thank you so much for coming to my session. Let's leave the PowerPoint here. And we'll end off with that nice little Cloud Skills Challenge. I'll see you guys all in 2 weeks. We've got some great swag to do. ak.ms/csc/java-on-azure. And then we'll announce the winners. And also I'll do some, you like today, in 2 weeks' time, even better demos.
Great. Thank you very much,
Awesome.
Rory. You were saying something, Rasmus?
I just said it was awesome. I agree with Rory. It's always nice when you have been sacrificing to the demo gods and everything is working. It's just nice. Well done, Rory.
Yeah, it gets the adrenaline going. Hey, when you when that port 8080 goes there and you just go, just move on. But you know what I realized? That everyone wants to root for you to succeed. And that feeling that you get when you really have that end-to-end cloud-based application from start to finish and you show them all those features, there's nothing at the end of it because they want to see the real-world stuff. They want to be able to actually say, this is something that is happening for me right now, and it's great.
Exactly.
That is true. And one thing, Rory, I noticed that you had the pet demo. So it was both dogs and cats. Maybe tell us let us know that that the kind of the classic question: dogs or cats?
I have 2 dogs, but they're schnauzers. And they are, luckily they didn't actually howl at this call there, but they're more cats than dogs. I went both worlds. And if you want to download the Spring Pet Clinic, I put the GitHub URL there, and you can download GitHub, and you can follow exactly what I did there to publish to Azure Cloud. And then you can also use the Microsoft Learn material to use the Maven plugin, config, push it, and you can just follow me along right now, hands-on, if you want to go with that.
I will put the link here in the chat for everyone, and to know that to the GitHub link. And by the way, Antonio is saying that he's going to give VScode a try to develop.
Oh no, it's brilliant. It is so fast. Remember, Code Spaces is built on it. So what I'm going to do next week is I'm going to show you a Code Spaces demo that does all of this also that is coming up there. So Code Spaces is built on this. It is so lightning fast, Visual Studio Code. Give it a try. You'll fall in love with it.
Yeah, I agree on that. I really like Code Spaces. And let me also share my screen here. Just hold on a moment.
I think while you're sharing your screen, Sherry, then we can maybe we can announce the winner in terms of the question. So I think it's not going to be hard because we had one conversation. So Rory, do you want to say who is the winner?
Oh, I love Antonio. He asked me so many lovely questions. So definitely
exactly.
him.
So Antonio, you will have to write to Sherry or myself, or then we will get your address and give you some swags.
Yes. So yeah, I guess we have a banner for that with our work email address. Let me find it. Yeah.
You can also DM me. I'm at Rory Preddy. Follow me at Rory Preddy. My DMs are open. You can contact me anytime. And I'm really keen to answer your questions on Azure or Microsoft accessibility or Java.
Yeah, that is true. So actually, all of our Twitter handles are here, and I believe that all of us we have DM open as well. But Rory is your guide to go to ask a question about Java and accessibility. And so,
Sherry, you got a certification in Java, and I just showed you how to get started again. So now you really need to play around and get started with it. I showed you everything you need to do, and it's free. Visual Studio Code is free. You can use
it. I also have this plush here.
She can't find it because she has so many plushies.
She's hidden it.
Yeah. You're just bragging, Sherry. You need to bring it next time.
Yeah, I will bring
Find
it
it
next
for the next
time.
show.
Yes, and I will. Maybe I should bring my Java certificate as well here.
Yeah, the paper.
That's true. So I actually I promise all of you that you can get an Azure Heroes learner badges. So to get it, scan this QR code. Then if you never had Azure Heroes badge before, you need to download an app, which is a digital wallet developed by our partner Engine. So these badges, they are NFT tokens, and that's why that you need to have a digital wallet. And once you have that, remember to back it up and also have your password saved somewhere. Because if you lose the password, you will lose all of your badges. I learned it in a hard way, so that's why I'm telling you. And if you don't know about the Azure Heroes program, so it's a program that it is we developed it at Microsoft as a thank you to the developer community for learning and building on top of our technology. Learner badge is one of the badges that we have. We have many of them. You can check it out on our website, which I put it here. And for example, we also have kudos badge. For Rory is going to get one of them today because he was our speaker today.
Yeah.
Yes, and yes, and if you want to know what the developer community is talking about us, you can check our hashtag on Twitter and LinkedIn. We have also a Twitter account for Azure Heroes where you can find all the latest about the Azure Heroes program. And Rasmus knows that I can talk about it forever, but I better stop it now.
And that's why we have to stop you on this because we have 2 minutes left. So if you want to hear more about
True.
the Azure
I
Hero program, reach out to Sherry.
yes. You can always reach out to me. I'm your person with all the badges. The badges.
If you
So
have
yes.
a free afternoon or two.
Yes.
And as Sherry said in the beginning, we would love to have your feedback both for this specific session to Rory. We will pass on all the feedback to him, and also for us to improve the show. This is your show, so let us know what you want to see, or if you want to speak yourself. And as Sherry also said in the beginning, there will also be handed out swag to one of you filling out the feedback form today.
Yes. Before I go to the next one, I should also put this one here, Rory. That is from Sebastian. That he actually seems like that he was your previous mate. So that he say hi and thank you for giving the feedback. So
Hello,
and thanks
Sebastian.
for joining us, Sebastian. So upcoming events. So we have the Java on Azure. This is not upcoming event, but I just wanted to mention it here to you again. And we have already, I'm just telling you that, I just checked it here. We have already few people that they joined. Since it's a cloud skills challenge, so the first 3 person who finish it, they are the one that they get it. So I'm just showing you here to actually dress it up. That we have already a few people. So you see, so Antonia, I already finished the two of the sessions. So if you want to be the winner, so you should be you should be fast. So
Well
so
done.
yes. So you see, Antonia is getting all the swag boxes. So be fast. And then, as Rory mentioned, we are going to announce all the winners on the second session that Rory has, and that is going to be the demo heavy session, and it's going to be good to finish up all of these cloud skills challenges. It's not going to take a lot of hours from you to be ready for the next session. Do you want to say anything about the next session, Rory?
Yeah, so if you're interested in Azure Spring Cloud, JBoss and Azure App Services, or more app services, Azure Functions, definitely come tomorrow, in 2 weeks' time, to see some live demos.
Great, thank you. So let me just
Amazing.
put a link on the feedback form here because somebody in the audience asked for it. So it's in the below here. And then if you're interested, I know it's not Java, but if you're interested in IoT, we have a really cool session on June 10th, where we have Cliff, that he's going to show that how he could use technology for doing something good. He printed a kind of a bionic hand for a young teenager in UK that who could not get help from NHS. So it's a really good session and really inspiring one. So all of these sessions, you can find it on our meetup page. This one is going to be under the Maker Show. And the other one is that if you're interested in Kafka, on next week, the Dev Show, we are going to have Mone talking about Apache Kafka. It's going to be like an introductory session. So.
And with that, let's give you your afternoon back. Thanks everybody for joining, and thanks Rory for speaking. We look forward to part 2. And yeah, have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're watching. Take care.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.